Hello, I'm Emily Jensen. I'm the Director of Career Development at Inver Hills Community College in Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota. I'm here today to give you information about creating a resume. Sure, you could Google resumes, but I promise you will find some outdated information or information that's geared towards your general job seeker. As a student currently enrolled in college, you are not considered a general job seeker. Your resume should be different and reflect the unique things you'll bring to the job search. Included in this video will be everything you've ever wanted to know about writing a resume. I encourage you to watch the whole thing so you don't miss any important details. In this video, I will share with you the wisdom from employers who want to hire our students and graduates. Resumes are read for 5 to 7 seconds. This is not a joke. An employer is going to look at your resume for 5 to 7 seconds before they make the decision whether or not they want to continue to read your resume. It's your job to make sure that you have clearly communicated to the employer why you match the job descriptions and you're going to be perfect for the job. How do you do that? Let's get started. One of the best ways to make a bad impression on your resume is to use a template. Go back to Google and search free resume template. I promise it's not actually free, and if it is going to be a pain to edit when you realize you made one spelling error. Resume templates are designed to look very pretty, but they usually are not including all of the information an employer is going to look for, or they're going to include a resume faux pas like color. Just open up a Word document and start typing. When you clearly are able to type in your information and format the document, you're able to communicate to your employer that you are able to use Microsoft Word, you're able to have attention to detail, and can use computers without explicitly stating that you have any of those skill sets. It's a pretty cool thing. A resume is made up of several sections. The first thing we need to talk about is the most important one, and that's the one with you. This is the section where we're including your contact information. Include your name in a slightly bigger font than the rest of your resume and your contact information. Including your address is optional, but please do not include your address if you intend to post your resume on a job search website where your information is available to the public. Make sure your email is professional. It should be some combination of your first name and last name. While we're at it, let's update your voicemail and make sure it's the exact first impression you'd like to give your future employer. If you want to include your LinkedIn profile, you can do so here, but make sure your profile is complete and ready to be viewed by a potential employer. The next section on your resume is a summary of qualifications. This section goes by many names: professional profile, summary of skills, sometimes just summary. For the purpose of today's video, we will always call it the summary of qualifications. Now, we cannot talk about a summary of qualifications without talking about an objective. An objective is you explaining to the employer what you're looking for. By contrast, a summary of qualifications is you telling the employer what skill sets you have to offer. An objective has become an outdated tool used only for job seekers who are career changers. The reader knows you want the job, otherwise why would you be applying? So use a summary of qualifications. As I've shared, the summary of qualifications is where you highlight the skill sets you're bringing to your next employer. How do you do this? You need to look at the job description very carefully and find the skill sets that they are looking for that match your abilities. Your summary should be 3 to 5 bullet points that match that job description. This means for every job you are applying to, you are tailoring your summary of skills to match the job description. This might sound like more work, but it will pay off in the long run when you can clearly communicate to the employer you have the matching skills. As a currently enrolled student or a graduate student post-graduation, your education section should be placed right underneath your summary of qualifications. If you graduated more than 2 years ago, your education section should be moved under your employment section. Now, when you list education on your resume, you need to include the degree you are receiving, where you received the degree, and the dates you received the degree or when you will be receiving it. If you have not graduated yet, use the words anticipated graduation date before the month and year of when you anticipate graduating. If you have already graduated, you can just list the year you received your degree. If If it's been more than 2 years since you graduated, you can leave the year you received your degree off altogether. Please do not include your high school diploma on your resume. Since you are enrolled in college or have completed a degree here, it is already assumed that you have your high school diploma or GED. In your education section, you can include any scholarships or awards you may have received. You may also include your GPA, but employers share with us they only want to see your GPA if it's 3.5 or higher. You might also want to include relevant coursework you took on your resume if they apply to the job you're applying to. Your employment section is where you showcase your past and current employment. This should be written in reverse chronological order, meaning that your most recent job should be on top and your least recent job at the bottom. The typical rule of thumb is that you include your last 7 to 10 years of employment. If you don't have 7 years of employment, you include what you do have. This section should include your job title, the place you worked, the city and state where you were employed, and the time frame you were employed at that job. The order in which I just listed these items is the order that they should be listed in. Remember, you only have 5 to 7 seconds to make an impression, so it is more important that your reader sees you were an assistant manager versus where you were an assistant manager. Under your job title and other necessary information, you should include 3 to 5 bullet points of the skills and tasks that you are doing at that job. These statements are called proof statements. It's important to remember that this should not be written in first person. A proof statement is where you show or prove to the employer that you have the skills they're looking for. You can list that you have good customer service, or you can prove that you have good customer service by having a statement that says, demonstrated quality customer service by interacting with guests with a positive demeanor, resulting in return visits. If you were an employer, which statement would you have more confidence in, knowing that that job seeker has the skills you're looking for? This sounds a little bit hard. It is, but I have a trick for you. When you are writing a proof statement, you want to include a verb plus a task and an outcome. That's an equation to make a quality proof statement. Let's look at the example I used before. Demonstrated quality customer service by having positive interactions with guests, resulting in return visits to the store. Demonstrated is my verb. Quality customer service is my task. And then my outcome is having positive interactions with guests, resulting in return visits to the store. I encourage you to consider what information am I trying to communicate to my reader. Go from there when you're creating your proof statement. As a reminder, you cannot just list that you're a team player, that you have leadership skills, or that you're organized. Anyone can say that they have those things. It is your job to prove it to your reader so that they see you have the skills that they're looking for. But how do you know what an employer is looking for? That's easy. Look at the job description. The employer has told you what they are looking for underneath the qualifications or skills section. Sometimes job postings are a little bit sparse. Take some time and look on the employer's website or look at other similar job postings to collect information to try to gather up the type of skills that are needed or necessary in your industry. When you find those commonalities, you have found keywords. Keywords are important because they may be used in something called an applicant tracking system. The applicant tracking system reviews your application to make sure you have the right skill sets to use the job and pass your application on to the hiring manager. As we spoke about before, your resume will be viewed for 5 to 7 seconds. In order for you to get that chance, you need to make your way through the applicant tracking system, so those keywords are very important. You might want to include other sections on your resume, but I encourage you to include only sections that are relevant to the job that you're applying to. If you're applying to be a human resources staff at a local business, it's probably not important to include that you run marathons. In contrast, if you're applying for a paraprofessional job at a local high school that has a track coach component to it, go ahead and include that you run marathons. If you're looking to enhance your resume with additional sections, I encourage you to include your campus involvement, any community-based learning you did on campus, volunteering, military experience, whatever you have to offer. When you add these sections, make sure they're relevant to the job versus just taking up extra space. I'm going to leave our time together with just a few last reminders. Resumes are documents that you put a lot of time into and require a lot of edits and changes to as you progress in your job search. Job searching can be challenging and can feel like a full-time job, but I promise when you are genuine in your efforts in editing and changes, you will find more success in your job search. It's about quality over quantity. Always have someone review your resume before you submit it. You have staff right here at Dakota County Technical College who are willing to assist and make sure your documents are ready for your employer. You can meet one-on-one with our resume experts or submit your resume online at collegecentral.com/DCTC to have your resume reviewed online. You can do this. Let's get started now.